So I'm here with Ioan Cunningham, Skills Performance Coach at Parker Scarlets, and firstly, congratulations really. It's been quite a summer for you, what with the Under-20s World Cup, and now obviously the recent announcement from the Wales U20s in terms of the new setup, a sort of an increased role as well. Fantastic summer, Ioan. Take us first back to the 20s campaign in the World Cup, because that was fantastic.
Well, it's been fantastic, hasn't it? To reach a final is great, and to give those young players the experience really of playing in a high pressured environment in front of big crowds, which will only help them in their development into Rabo level and Heineken Cup level, hopefully, and senior internationals.
I mean, you started out your career with us actually in academy level, so you would have seen a lot of these boys, presumably from a very early age. A lot is said about the development of future talent here. How optimistic can we be about the future?
It's great, the machine in Welsh rugby at the moment is the conveyor belt of talent is coming through yearly. The stock is increasing. The programs that these players are on is fantastic, not only conditioning and nutritionally, but skills wise as well. They get their rugby covered, and some of the players coming through now is very exciting.
If you think about some of the Scarlets players that you've probably worked with, particularly those at the World Cup, what would they have gained? I mean, obviously there was a lot of exposure, but what would they have gained as players, as young men really, coming back into now their regional roles?
The biggest thing is confidence. They played in that high pressured environment of a semi-final and then a final. Like of Jordan Williams, he should come back and thrive in this environment. Now, they shouldn't fear playing in a Rabo competition or a Heineken Cup. They should excel and show what they're good at. Those players will grow immensely.
And Danny was talking earlier about the kind of opposition that you actually face at those competitions. It shouldn't be sort of underestimated really as well in terms of the power of particularly the packs and how big these boys are at under 20 level.
Oh yeah, it's when you're actually involved in it, you realise the size of these guys, and it is quite frightening to think the size of some of these athletes to come in the next few years. But again, it's the myth of Southern Hemisphere sides, and again, it's that confidence thing for some of these boys who have played against New Zealand a couple of times now. Some of these boys have faced New Zealand twice, 3 times, South Africa a couple of times, and Australia and England again. And that's what it's about, playing these big sides more often, which gives these players confidence and a belief really that they're up there with them.
What, in your perspective, you've seen the sort of whole spectrum of rugby all the way through, and obviously now your role is actually sort of aligning performance and skills from the players at the senior squad all the way through to the academy. What's your view in terms of what the region's role is? What can they do to bring these young players forward? Is it all about opportunities? Is it about the links with the Premiership clubs as well? I mean, what are the key things?
It's those two things really. It's getting the opportunity to play, obviously, and that's where competitions such as LV Cups are really good to expose young talent and young players. The links between the Scarlets and the semi-pro clubs is excellent here with us. And just exposing those players to regular game time in the Premiership, and that the standard of that is rising every year. And then when they get the opportunity, because the link is quite strong here with similar structures and systems in place, that when it's a seamless then sort of movement into the first team, and that's working well with us here.
I mean, you were 105 appearances for Llanelli in your time as a player.
Yeah.
How important, you just touched on it then, but how important is that closeness between our feeder clubs and the Scarlets, and that ability for players to move sort of seamlessly between the two?
It's massive, we're not a massive nation in Wales, but so when it comes down to the first team or the Scarlets main team playing, it's all it takes is a couple of bumps possibly, and suddenly you're looking at who's your 3rd, 4th, 5th player, and that's where the link, the bind between the two clubs is massive, and I experienced that as a player, which was good, but also now as a coach, it's something that I drive, and I know the senior coaches are excellent at it as well.
And in terms of your Wales 20s role, do you see this as obviously forwards coach now? Is it a step up, or is it more of the same really in terms of what you've already been doing?
I see that it is a step up, certainly a bit more responsibility, more accountability as well, but yeah, it's an excellent challenge, and Danny did a fantastic job, and I've got a lot to live up to, and I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead.
And how will you combine that with your role here?
It works quite nicely actually, because I see the players here on a daily basis who possibly would be involved in the 20 setup. I've got a good knowledge of the other players of the other regions, and because a lot of the players possibly are involved in the Scarlets first team as well, the younger players, so I get to work with them on a daily basis, which doubles up on my national duties as well.
So how good are some of these young Scarlets forwards that we saw in the World Cup?
They are. They've got to give credit. They are very good. You know, like Carwyn has sort of come from nowhere really, and he's developed extremely well the last 12-18 months, and rightly deserved his spot in the starting lineup of the 20s. Sean Bennett is another exceptional talent, and similar with Kirby, who was 20s last year, and he's kicked on this year. And Samson and Rob Evans, you know, and they're still young guys, and I'm sure in the next 12-18 months you see these guys stepping out here in front for the first team.
Well, Ioan, congratulations on a great summer, and really look forward to seeing what happens next season. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.